Alright guys, I'm going to go over doing a handlebar, grips, and mirror change, since I actually just picked up all three. So I figured I'd fill you guys in and let you see what the process looks like on a first gen SV650. So we'll start off with the T40 for the handlebars. Get them loosened up. Now it's not necessary to pull the bolts out, because you can actually just take the whole top piece off, leave the bolts in, because there are some washers in here that if you lose them are going to be very hard to get your hands on. Now on the old handlebars they had little rivets in there, keep it from moving around, but it's not going to be necessary on the new handlebars. Most of them don't even come with it. So at this point, since I'm going to test fit this, I'm just going to get the bars out of the way for the minute and bring the new bars in. Okay, now these are actually Bike Master's Daytona bars. So we'll just test place it here. Alright, so from here, to make sure that it's actually on correctly and in the right position, you're going to want to test fit the turn. Make sure it's not going to hit, or that it's at least comfortable for you. See how close it is to the tank, and in this case it's not bad. So next thing we need to figure out is if it's centered. So we'll take total length, which on this one is 29.5. Divide that in half. So we've got 14 3/4 to work on here. So get it centered up, and as long as you have the fitment right, you can tighten it down. Now another thing to keep in mind is that these risers don't sit flush. See, there's going to be a bit of a gap between them. So what you need to be sure of is that you actually tighten down front and back equally. That way one side doesn't stick up higher. Now that you got those tightened down and they're even front and rear, next step is removing the stuff from the old handlebars and putting them on the new ones. Got a screw up front here next to the start button, and a screw directly behind it, and the throttle cable's actually sort of in the way, so I have to move it. Now here we're also going to take off the bar ends. Just loosen them up a bit. Now here's the fun part. When you split it, you're going to have to just kind of set it back and out of the way, because the start, or the kill switch, is held in by two wires that won't let it leave. Now in order to get the throttle off, you'll have to take the throttle cables down here and adjust them all the way forward. So remove the retaining ring all the way back and tighten this all the way down. Same with the return side. And what that does is actually give this enough play that you can take the cable up and off to the side here and out. Now you have enough room to roll it forward and pull it off on the other side. There you go, throttle tube is off. The next piece we're going to work on here is the brake handle, which incorporates the mirrors. And I'm actually not going to use these in my new handlebars. I'm going to get some bar end mirrors. Okay, so I'm currently using a 5/16 wrench to loosen this. So loosening top and bottom, we're actually just going to pull them straight out. Alright guys, now a problem I just ran into here is that with these Daytona bars, like I said, they are a bit longer, but the major difference is that the bends aren't even in the same spot either. So this handlebar, the bend actually comes out a lot sooner. So the brake used to mount here. Now it has to be mounted over here after the bend. So what's actually happening is my brake line here is being stretched so tight that I have had to set the handlebars forward a decent amount. Okay, so next step here, we're going to get this guy back on. We're going to do it a loose fit. And now we need to actually figure out what is comfortable position for it. So whether it needs to move up or down. So right here for me is actually a pretty comfortable position. So I'm going to keep it. Otherwise, with it loose, you can still move it forward or back. And you'll actually see the lever will change positions. So forward or back as you see fit. Then we'll just tighten it back up. Okay, this next thing I'm going to talk about should be practiced with extreme caution, just because it can actually add work later. But what I did in my instance here was actually pointing down this way. So with a 12mm wrench, I was able to carefully loosen it or break it loose enough so that I could move this by hand. But you don't want it too loose or you're going to start losing brake fluid. And allowing air pockets inside, which means you're going to have to flush the entire system to get the air pockets out. So I very carefully loosened it and bent it back into position right here, where it is now somewhat loose and isn't being held in a strenuous position. Afterwards, tighten it back down. Okay, next one we're going to go after here. It's going to be the clutch side for the brake lever and the electrical assembly. We're going to go for this screw up here. Sorry about the light situation. There we go. And there's another one directly behind it, and it's also holding a little metal bracket that keeps our choke in place. So it's not going to go anywhere, just let it hang. Now, top part comes off very similar to on the throttle side. Just have to pop it off the handlebars and move it forward. Now you can remove the entire assembly straight off the bars. Now this side actually comes off with a 10, and it's only in one spot. So what you're doing is releasing the clamp so it's not holding onto the bars so tight. And loosening it so you can slide it off the bar. So at this point we'll remove this bar end, and we will have to remove this grip. I might be able to force it off, otherwise I'm going to have to cut it off, which is standard when replacing grips. Because I'm a little sentimental like this, I want to actually just get it off so that I can save it, because I like holding on to parts of my bike. So I shoved a screwdriver underneath it, got it loose, and I'm just twisting it to get it off. There we go, and as you can see, there's actually a lot of grip glue left behind from the manufacturer. These are the original grips. And as long as you get most of it off, you can just start removing the bar. Now at the end here, Suzuki managed to make it flared, so there's actually a bit of a lip sitting up. I'll have to separate this a little bit to try and pull it off the bars. There we go. Now at this point, because we use the handlebars that we did, we're going to have to remove our clutch lever. which you'll actually see. You can line up everything here and just pull the cable straight out, right through that channel. What I do is find a drill bit that fit inside this hole so that we can re-drill them on our new bars. Now, I've already done the one over here. Got it test fit all the way to the edge. Now, the other thing you have to consider is where you put the hole is going to determine where it sits. So further back or further forward. So I put the hole actually in line with the crease right here. But on this side, we're going to have to make sure that it lines up with this one. Also, when you get these throttle cables put back in place, get all the screw holes up where it's supposed to be. To adjust these, you don't want any play in this. That's it. That's all the play you want. So you're going to back these out on each side until the play is gone. As soon as the play is gone, tighten these down, and you're good to go. I'm not one for measuring much, so here's the way I'm going to do this. I'm just going to pair it up here, get the hole, at least how far in it goes. So I'll butt it up to the end of this one. Find the center and score it out. And the next thing we're going to do is try to get this lined up. So we're going to somewhat put it back together. And make sure it lines up on both sides. So that looks good. Now, in the top part is the pin that actually goes in the hole. You'll find it and then score along that line in the other direction. So we'll be right here. Now we got our center spot to drill the hole. So we'll find ourselves a nice hole punch. Get right in the center of the two marks. And create a nice little hole. Now that is going to prevent the drill bit from slipping when you drill. Nice hole for this guy to fit into. And this keeps it from moving forward or backwards. So line it up on that hole, push it in. There we go. Just put the screws back in. Alright guys, well I ran into issues when trying to use the new handlebars, so I'm going to go ahead and forego those on this time. Problems I was running into were the cables just weren't working out correctly. And they were just pulling too tight, so I went back with the original handlebars, still blocked off the mirrors, and I'm going to put in the little end cap mirrors and new grips. So went over that process. I got these off eBay, just a cheap imitation version of some basic hand grips. They are aluminum on the ends and rubber in the middle. They do come with one in a 1" and one in a 7/8. That way you can have one to fit over the throttle tube. So first thing is you're going to want to make sure that this, of course, is new, so we're not going to need to, but make sure it's clean if you're using your old one. Same with your handlebars over here. Make sure you clean it up, get all the gunks off it, and make sure it's clean. Okay, so we're going to do the left side first, and I am using Tag's grip glue to put these on. Okay. Now this is a very quick dry, it's like a super glue. that on. And just twist this on all the way. Okay, there we go. New grips. Alright, very nice. Well, I was going to show you guys the installation on this side. Problem is my phone actually ran out of memory while doing the recording, so I didn't have a chance to do it after I put the super glue on to put the grip on. But essentially it's the exact same process. Once you get it on there, push it from the back side, makes it a lot easier, get it on as far as you can. Once you can't get it on any further, take the front portion and just twist it forward. Twisting it back will just open the carbs, cause it to flood a little bit. So just continue to twist it forward in this direction and push it in from the back when you can. Now overall though, I do really enjoy this setup. It's a lot nicer. I set the mirrors to be facing outwards so I can actually see more behind me. Really nice, I do enjoy it. If you do enjoy the video, go ahead and rate, comment, subscribe, or if you didn't, let me know why you didn't.